So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here.
Hello, and welcome to 90 Day Fiancé MK. I'm Mr. O, and today, Miss H and I will be discussing Season 7, Episode 2 of Happily Ever After. In this episode, Shaheeda won't apologize to Shaeeda, Jovi drinks and talks about Yara's boobs, Libby's plan to sing nursery rhymes lands like a thud, Jenny and Sumit can't decide which one of them deserves more sympathy, Ed blames everyone for cutting and running over Liz, and Kim and Usman might be starting a Seeking Sister-Wife crossover. As always, we'll end with our Students of the Week, class dances, and life lessons. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and subscribe. And if you also watch Love After Lockup, you should listen to our other channel, Love After Lockup MK, where we'll be covering the new season of Life After Lockup. All right, thanks for listening, stay safe, and enjoy.
Hello, Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
How are you today?
Really busy?
Yeah.
As noted by, us recording super late this week, we had busy weekends, and then busy starts to the week, and then, here we are, and it's Wednesday.
Right. And even now, we have to rush through this because I have back to school night right after we record this.
Yeah, I think this is literally the only night I didn't have something this week, and you were out of town all weekend. I had stuff going on all weekend. It's like, I feel like we're definitely at the point where I guess COVID is all the way over now. Like I am just, I'm just doing
back
everything
to our
every
regular
night.
Lives. Yeah. Although I will say we did start this podcast. It's almost been 3 years now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's almost been 3 years. So we did start this pre-pandemic.
Yes, we did. We did.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden the pandemic happened. It's like, well, it's a lot easier to find times to record now. I can not stay up late doing it.
All right. Yeah. And the other thing was, I have a nice microphone for my online classes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, from having this podcast. All right. So let's get started with this week's group. I think we saw almost everyone.
We still haven't seen Angela yet, thank God.
Right. They keep on teasing that. Okay, so let's get started with, how about the couple we didn't see last time? So Ed and Liz. So Ed, 56, and Liz, 29. They're both from San Diego, California, and they're engaged. So they are shopping they try to tease it like it was wedding dress shopping, but it was really a ring bearer outfit for his new dog, Leon. Ed met Liz because she was a server at his favorite restaurant where he brought a lot of first dates. Ed tells us his insecurity and his jealousy really hindered their relationship, and so Liz and Ed fought quite a bit through the single life twice, and Ed has broken up with Liz a total of 8 times, which they repeat probably 8 or more times.
More than 8 times, yeah.
Right, over text. When Ed's dog, Teddy, passed away, Liz reached out to Ed, which led to them reconnecting and then dating again and eventually getting engaged. Ed and Liz later check out a possible rooftop venue for their wedding with Liz's bridesmaids. Liz appreciates their support because it ends up that many of their friends haven't actually accepted their relationship since, their relationship in the past has been so tumultuous. They just hope that Ed doesn't break up with her a 9th time. Ed admits that the breakups were because of his issues, and he's really had to grow up, and he's helped this process along by seeing a therapist for 6 months. Liz says she loves Ed because he shows her love, especially with her daughter. Ed's daughter, Tiffany, however, stopped taking his calls. Ed's friend, Rich, who we've met on The Single Life, also stopped talking to him, even though he still talks to Ed's mom almost every day. Everyone thinks that Ed is picking Liz over them. Ed's mom is not happy about the engagement, and Liz feels like she's the one being blamed for something, especially because she believes the reason why everybody is so anti their relationship is because Ed used to air their issues when they were broken up. Rich thinks that they are both insecure and selfish, and it's been 4 months since they've seen each other. So Ed wants to meet up with him because he wants to stop Rich from bad-mouthing them to his friends and family. Rich says he's trying to protect Ed from being hurt again. Ed thinks that it's weird that Rich talks to his mom every day and tells him so. Ed tells him that until he accepts his relationship with Liz, he can't be around Rich anymore. And Rich tells him that they've been friends for 15 years, so, he can't just walk away. Rich believes that, there is influence and he's not talking to his friend anymore. All right, so I don't know. So say that you really, if let's say Ed was your friend, right? And he has broken up with someone 8 times and now he's engaged to this person. I mean, how do you as a friend deal with this?
I don't know. I don't think like cutting him out of my life is the right way. I would be like, listen, dude, I think this is a shitty idea. And actually, I'd rather you not talk to me about it anymore. But if you're going to do it, you do it. Like, I could do with that. Like, I don't want to talk about this relationship anymore because I told you where I stand on it. And if you're going to do what you want to do, you're a grown man, do what you want to do. But I don't need to be involved in this anymore. You know where I stand, right? That to me is fine. And then we can go bowling or whatever, or bike riding or whatever stupid thing Ed does, whatever. You can go do that, right?
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I think what may be kind of the frustrating part, and I do think it's weird that his friends have definitely taken to the extremes where they would rather just like cut him out of their life than, but I can also see this happening. I can see Ed being the kind of person where he breaks up, is telling you how terrible the relationship is, how terrible the other person is, and is just like having such a hard time getting over this person. Right. And then it's just like, calling you in the middle of the night, crying that they'll never find someone else and blah, blah, blah. And, you were really going through this breakup with him. You start to feel like your friend is making progress and moving on. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they've backslid into this relationship that was so terrible. And 8 times. Like, I feel like I have a girlfriend that, she was dating someone that was pretty terrible. He had drug addiction in the past, and that was part of the reason why he was so terrible. And she lost a lot of friends because they could not handle, like, the drama of that relationship. So I can kind of see how it's like that. Like, you can't necessarily separate the two because Ed won't let it be like that, right?
Well, I could see that, but I could also see we're kind of taking Ed's version of the story. Well, we got engaged, and my friends all cut me out of their life. They feel like I'm choosing her over me. Where I'm sure that if they gave them that option, be like, Ed, whatever you want to do is fine, man, but I'm not helping you through that breakup again, dude, because I know it's coming, and I helped you last time. I'm not doing that again. And he's gonna be like, well, you know. That's it. Then I guess you don't really like me as a person then. I guess it's the whole person. You either like everything or you like nothing. And I guess that's just you cutting me out of your life. And you're like, okay, Ed, fine. Like, if that's the way it is, right? He has the kind of the stupid Marilyn Monroe thing that if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, which,
oh gosh, okay.
I mean, Ed's best is a very low bar. Very, very low.
But I agree that I think that he might have put that on other people. Like they're... like, oh, they don't support me, so, they want nothing to do with me. But really, I feel like he's also the kind of person that just will not shut up about his relationship, good or bad. He's just, being in a relationship is what defines him.
And it is really hard to know someone mostly through your friend describing them as the evil devil woman that sucks his soul and tries to destroy all men, and then... He's like, oh, can you come to dinner with the evil devil woman that destroys men's souls and things? It's like, not really. Like, I'd rather not. Like, I don't like her because you literally spent 2 years telling me how shitty she was.
Yeah. They are a very odd couple to me. It confuses me how they're together after 8 breakups.
I don't even know how... I don't know how that works. Like... 8 breakups. Well, he made it sound like he did it 8 times in a row. Like, I break up with you. I break up with you. Like, how long of a time frame is this that they broke up 8 times?
A week or 2. And you know what? I think this is the sad part is like he's the one who broke up with her every single time. Like, why would she go back? Like, after you've made that kind of mistake twice, it's just like this person's gonna just yank you around for what? A reaction?
Yeah,
because he's
basically
dramatic, you know? It's like, why would you go back to that a third time?
Yeah, I just, and I forgot because I didn't watch either season of A Single Life, right?
I casually watched. I didn't watch them all, but I casually watched.
And so I forgot how much this dude just annoys me. Like, he tells the stupidest jokes.
Yeah.
Like, he says it to me, the fact that as people call me Big Ed. Nobody calls you that but you. Nobody. I promised you that nobody's ever called him Big Ed besides him being like, let's say people call me Big Ed. Like, shut up. It's just every time he talks, he's just like lame, stupid jokes and like, he's a very grating person to me.
Yeah, he's a lot.
Speaking of very grating people, we have a lot to choose from here.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to go with Kim and Usman.
Yeah,
So,
Kim is what I would think of first if you say grating.
very, very grating person on mine. Okay. So since last time we saw only Kim, this time we open with Usman. Although he's in prayer mode rather than being in Sojaboy mode. He says that, the success keeps coming in his music, but it hasn't in love until Kimberly. And then they throw in a passing reference to baby girl Lisa, but then he sums up last season from his point of view. How she was the potential. They went to Zanzibar. He, tested things by reconnecting with Zara. And then we see some videos of when he invited her to Nigeria after the show, which we didn't see, and says, the things that he loves about her, like loyalty, which it's a big theme for him. So anyway, then Usman sits down with his older brother Muhammad and tells him that he'll be bringing yet another older white American woman to meet the family, and wants Muhammad to do the same thing he did last time, which is like, go talk to mom about it and like soften her up about it, because I want you to tell her, not me. So he says the plan is for her to bring her back to Nigeria. They'll get engaged. Then they could get married, and then he can go to the States. So Muhammad doesn't understand why you just can't find an American your own age to get you into the States.
Yep.
Especially because, if you're going to have any kids. But, of course, there's a plan for that. And it's the, second wife. And it's a plan that Muhammad is very doubtful any American woman is going to agree to. So either way, Muhammad thinks that until he actually has the second wife lined up, like, here's my first wife and here's my second wife, his mom, Usman's mom, is not going to agree to the marriage. So it's starting to look like we're just going to have some sort of Seeking Sister Wife crossover here. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're back with Kim in San Diego to pick her son Jamal up from the airport, who is visiting from New York. So she brings him flowers, which, okay, if that's your relationship. That's not anything mom would ever do. But the next day, we see Jamal doing some gardening and talking to Kim and her mother, who lives with her. So Kim breaks the news that she's going to propose to Usman in Nigeria, and then they'll apply for the K-1, so eventually they can get married here. Jamal's confused because he was at the tell-all and he thought things were over at the tell-all. And now she's getting engaged on the third time she's meeting him in person. So Jamal doesn't trust the guy, and he's not enthusiastic about the plan. He thinks that Usman might just be scamming her to get into the U.S., but Kim doesn't think so, since it was she was the one that brought up K1. She insists that he loves her, and Jamal asks, what does he do to show that? And then she just kind of mumbles and rants about it's just, when he's with me, it's like being with him. So Jamal thinks it's bullshit, and Kim gives it then Kim goes into Cartman mode, whatever, I'll do what I want. And she's going through with it anyway. All right. So are we going to get a Seeking Sister Wife story? Is that what this is going?
I don't know. I feel like definitely I was watching this last season of Seeking Sister Wives, and there's definitely opportunities for 90 Day Fiancé crossover. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be a crossover show between the two, Seeking Sister Wives in 90 days. I don't know.
Yeah, I think and we were hinted at, it's kind of hinted at in the preview. I think they have very different ideas to what this other wife, the second wife, is going to entail.
Yes, because Kim definitely sees it as a baby maker who's a nanny baby maker. Who
lives in a completely different part of the world than me that I never have to see.
Right. Yeah, and almost like Handmaid's Tale, but not actually taking care of the kid.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And it's like the handmaid, but the handmaid also just keeps taking care of the kid. And I'm just going to sit over here.
Right. Yeah. So I've seen enough Seeking Sister Wives to kind of identify, and I'm not saying that, I'm an expert by any means. I'm not even trying to. But based on the show that, I've seen, it's just like you can kind of tell which relationships are going to be more successful than others. And I think you have to be very open to sharing in the first place. Kim isn't trying to share Usman with anyone. This is not going to be successful.
It's not, because she wants a situation where she can be like, I'm going to cover my eyes and close my ears. I can pretend it never happened, and then we can move on. Right? Yeah. Like, that's what she wants. And that's not going to work.
No, it definitely isn't.
You are not getting that.
So, yeah, I don't know in what world she thinks that this is going to work out, but she's delusional.
Yeah, well, it's funny that, not funny, but it's notable that didn't come up when she was talking to Jamal. Lee. Right. The part where I'm going to get engaged and we'll get the K1 and he'll come here, left out the part where it's like, oh, he also needs to have babies with a different woman at the same time. So.
Well, the other thing, too, that kind of occurred to me, just the way she talks to her son and her friends, it's like she is just one of those people who is incredibly stubborn, defensive, and does not want to admit she's wrong ever, right? So she's going to make this thing work even if she is terribly unhappy because she does not want to go back to these people and say, you were right. It didn't work out this way. He really was seeing other people, or I shouldn't have trusted him, or
he did just want the green card. Yeah.
Right. She's not going to do that. And so she's just going to be one of those people that fakes it for everyone because she wants to win. We've already seen hashtag winning is so important to her.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag winning. But she's also a very much, you don't see him like I do. And it's like, yes, I don't. That's the point. That's why I'm telling you not to do this.
Right. But we're also saying that maybe you should look at what we're looking at.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, it is. And it's like, we talked about how grating she is, but the lectury hand wave, head waggle thing she does when she gets frustrated for people bringing up legitimate points and legitimate concerns is just, well, you think I can't do it? And oh my God, it's super grating. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, another couple that maybe is annoying as well. Libby and Andrei. So Libby and Andrei are both dressed very nicely, and they're popping a equally nice bottle of champagne because they are having a housewarming party to show off their house to their friends. Andrei is hesitant to have Libby's family there because he thinks that they'll bring their problems and he doesn't want to engage in that drama. Andrei says it's important to surround himself with smart, successful people, including his immigration lawyer and other business partners. Libby's sister and her dad and her mom and her stepdad all show up. Libby's sisters are gossiping that there were so many random people there, and they just think that Andrei's trying to social climb. Who invites their immigration lawyer? Libby shows her mom, her sisters, and friend Marisol Ellie's room and the spare room where Libby is bringing up that, she wants to sing, so maybe this will be a studio. And it just so happens that Marisol used to sing professionally, and she tries to put Libby on the spot. Libby isn't trying to sing on the spot without being warmed up. Libby kind of has a plan. She wants to sing nursery rhymes. Her sister thinks that it's a flighty thing, and Marisol wonders if, she can make any money and asks if Libby's really thought this through. Libby doesn't say much to defend herself, but she looks awkward and uncomfortable. That incident aside, Libby considers the party a huge success. Andrei thinks it's because the sisters kept their mouths shut. The sisters bring up that Charlie wasn't there, which is why they think there was peace. Andrei thinks that Charlie's drinking is a problem, but then Libby's mom, Pam, decides to defend Charlie and points out that Andrei drinks just as much as him. Jen and Becky support Andrei's assessment that Charlie has a drinking problem and that his parents are enabling him. Pam wants the family to come together to help Charlie. And Pam asks if Andrei is willing to help Charlie, and Andrei says no. And Charlie isn't welcome here. And he's mostly offended that Pam keeps on comparing Andrei and Charlie. So he says that Pamela might not be welcome either if she keeps on insisting that they're the same person. All right. So I don't know if we want to start off with Libby's singing career or you want to talk about Charlie.
I wanted to talk about the singing career because I'm not saying Libby is a good singer or that she'll make it.
Okay.
But the number one YouTube channel in America is Cocomelon. It's literally nursery rhymes.
Sure.
There's a lot of money in singing nursery rhymes. And they're all like, what a weird, flighty thing. How could you possibly make money on that? It's like, oh my God, every parent in the country sticks their 2-year-old in front of an iPad with nursery rhymes all day long. Like, it's super lucrative.
Right. So I actually want to backtrack, what I said last week. And it was when I heard her kind of take on it, I was like, actually good for you, because I feel like so many people are trying to be pop stars that the market is super saturated. And so that's why we were kind of talking about last week, like, she's going to try break into this, like, now that she's a little bit older, this is kind of a young person's game.
Sure.
I'm going to stand by those comments, but, now knowing that she wants to do nursery rhymes, I kind of like, that is a smart, like, business decision. I feel like she's maybe thinking about, okay, I'm not going to get started with this pop career now, even with the, I say this really loosely, fan base that she has from this show.
Sure.
But, nursery rhymes, absolutely. I feel like this is something that she could be successful in. I mean, I don't think it takes a whole lot of range to sing nursery rhymes either, right? But
no, the range, no. And I think the bigger issue with the nursery rhymes, and I think the market might be more saturated than she realizes. Like, I think there's a lot of people out there doing it already. Because I feel like there's a lot of moms who are like, I sing to my baby all the time and they love it. Like, why don't I just record this and it'll be a thing?
But I think it's interesting because we don't know, like, could you name anyone who sings? I mean, I don't have kids. I remember when I was a kid, we had Raffi, I want to say.
Yeah. We did. Well, and that's the thing is most of them are, it's channels. You have your Cocomelons, you have your Baby Shark, like Pink Fong, right? You have like these corporations that make them. And that's what I was getting towards. I don't know that the songs is what is actually the draw it's the animations.
Sure.
And she's not going to be doing any animations, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how much play or how popular it would be of her just singing like at the camera or her singing whatever or trying to do it on Spotify. Like this really, when I watch kids who watch it, it's really the animations and the video that really like entrances them.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know how successful you can be without that.
Right. Where it's almost like it could be absolute nonsense.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I was watching Baby Bus with my niece and I was just like, what the heck? Why are these burgers running around on the street? Like, what is this?
Doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it makes no sense. And then they're excited to get eaten. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Can't put too much thought into it.
Right, but even like that, okay, so Baby Shark was freaking huge. Baby Shark was everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But the song Baby Shark was not a new song. Like we used to sing Baby Shark, like back when I was in preschool, like it was still a thing. Like it filled with old McDonald's and the other songs you sang. But
I never sang that song.
We used to say, yeah, we did.
I remember singing a shark song, but definitely wasn't Baby Shark.
All right. But then we can move on to Andrei. And I feel like if we could just make Andrei keep his hands in his pockets, everyone would respond to him better. Like, I really think he's very hurt in what he's arguing because he's right. And they're even acknowledge he's right about Charlie. Yeah. Andrei's not even wrong this time, but he points at everybody all the time. And he's always aggressively pointing at them.
Sure.
Right? And that makes it seem so much more aggressive.
Yeah, he does come off
which means the person you're yelling at just gets all defensive and doesn't actually engage with what you're saying. They're just like, stop pointing at me.
Right. That, and he does have, I don't know if it's the accent or what, but it's just like, it sounds like he's always like yelling at people.
It does.
Or like commanding people around or something,
He does, and it is very much a, no, you do this, what I say, and I said it is this because I said it. And you're like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, right. But okay. But like, even, and that's the other thing, even in a situation here where he's very clearly not wrong.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's funny, too, that Pamela is just like, Charlie doesn't have a drinking problem. It's like, how many glasses of wine have you had, Pamela? Because I'm just like,
Well, and that's the thing. You can't just say they have a drinking problem because when you hang out at family events, you drink the same amount as them. That's not what a drinking problem means, right?
Yeah. Some people hold their liquor better than others because one of the things that even Andrei pointed out was like, well, when I get drunk, I do not behave like Charlie. It's not Charlie's drinking, it's behavior when he's drinking. Right.
Well, the other thing, too, is, yes, he probably has the same amount to drink as Charlie when they get to the event. But Charlie's 10 deep when he gets there. Right?
That's true, too.
He shows up drunk. And then he drinks as much as Andrei does. Like, that's not drinking the same amount. Yeah. But it's also like... And drinking problems tend to me, I would definitely say drinking problem, it's tricky. You're right. Because if you are overly aggressive and you do the behavior, but also if you're, okay, Andrei drinks on Friday night and Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Charlie drinks every night of the week. Yeah. Like, that's not the same thing, right? Especially if when it's getting to the point where they fired him from the company.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't tell me it's not affecting his life.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So
I also thought it was kind of like rich that, like, you know, Jen and Becky, you know, OnlyFans, Instagram, all the things people are like, Andrei just is social climbing. He just has these people over to advance himself. It's like, really? You're the ones who are telling me this?
Oh, I know, right? Just like, well, I mean, they were probably like, oh, they want to make it look like they have more friends. Like, maybe that's why he invited the immigration lawyer. I did think it was odd that they did invite the immigration lawyer unless there was some kind of relationship.
No, I definitely think Andrei is just like, oh, someone I know that makes a lot of money. They need to be at my house. They need to be over here. Like, that's my network. Let's go. They have money. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're wrong in what they said.
Oh, they're not. They're not wrong. But he's transparently doing that. It's when you ask him, like, why did you invite these people? It's like, it's good network. He's not going to lie to you and say these are like my big friends.
Yeah. He said, like, he wants to surround himself with smart, successful people.
Yeah. He's not like lying or pretending that's not the case. All right, so let's go. I'm going to go to Jenny and Sumit because I never know what's going on with these people. Yeah. All right, so we start with Mama Sumit, and she's still yelling and crying over Sumit's marriage announcement, and she says that Sumit has always made her life hell, and then does that mom thing where she's like, I gave labor to you for 2 days, and you owe me still. So she keeps insisting that she didn't agree to this marriage, and if he were really her son, then he wouldn't have done this. She even disinvites him from her funeral. She's like, when me and your father die, you better not be there. I don't want you there. Of course, Jenny has no idea what she's saying, but she definitely gets the gist that the mom is denying the conversation where she said she loved Jenny and wouldn't stand in her way. Sumit says that if it comes to this and his family disowns him, he has no choice but to cut ties, not just with them, but with everyone he knows in India. So he checks again if this is how his mom, is this how you're going to feel forever? And she's like, obviously, yes. And if you think this woman is worth more than the love of your entire family, then fine. Go with her. Choose her instead of me. I'll just go die. That's very much her. And she didn't actually say, let's go die thing. That was me extrapolating. So then the father finally says, let's go. And outside, mom keeps doubling down on how she'd never accept Jenny and would never approve his marriage, even tacitly. So Sumit goes outside to say his real goodbyes and hopes he'll be able to talk to her about it again once she's had time to process and like cool off. So he comes back in to talk things out with Jenny, who at first suggests they drop it, but then he ignores that. And so then it's her turn to yell at Sumit for a while. So she screams at him about all her stuff. So Jenny is really upset. She seems that, especially because they had this whole nasty conversation in front of her. I mean, it was just really vitriolic and nobody even like translated it for her or asked if she was okay or if she knew what was going on or what she thought or literally anything. But also it's exactly she's also upset because she's very much on, like, that's exactly what I thought would happen. Why did you believe anything different would happen? But then Sumit starts to fight back, saying he shouldn't have to pamper her every time she gets a little upset. Even if it even comes to, like, a little bit of shoving. So he calms down a little bit, though, and just wants her to calm down. So obviously she's frustrated and doesn't have to take that frustration out on him. That he doesn't want to have to give up his whole family for a woman. And especially, yeah, that's what he's thinking now. He's like, wait, this is what I gave up my whole family for? Just somebody who, as soon as they leave, just starts screaming at me? This is the deal? So they both just seem to think that the other person should be the one comforting them. And then they argue about who deserves comfort for a while. All right, so in this situation, who does deserve the comfort and who should be the comforter in this? Because that was what the fight was over. You should have comforted me. No, you should have comforted me.
I think immediately, probably Sumit should have comforted Jenny immediately, right? And then, but that shouldn't have been very long-lived. Right?
Sure.
And then it should have been the other way around. Because the reason why I say that's the order that probably makes more logical sense to me than maybe logical at the time, is just because it's like Jenny didn't really know everything that they said. She just knew bad things were happening, right?
Yes,
and so I feel like a little bit of comforting for reassurance. Like, I don't believe that Sumit should have translated everything for her. I know he didn't this time, but sometimes he does kind of blindly translate. And when I say blindly translate, I mean he is just doing translation without any thought as to what is being said and how this could be offensive and hurtful, right? Mm-hmm. And so he didn't do that this time. So I feel like just a little bit of like reassurance, like, yes, things, got out of hand. Nasty things were said, like not even worth repeating, you're the one that I love and blah, 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 all that. Short-lived, then Jenny should have like taken over and been like, I'm really sorry that you're, have this rift with your family now and blah, blah, blah. I feel like that should have been the order of operations simply because of the language barrier. If there was no language barrier, then, probably that first step wasn't as necessary.
That's true. Because she didn't know what was going on. And for all she knew, it could have been them just like arguing like which one of them was going to get to stab her in the heart. Right? Like, she doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't know. So yes, at least like let me tell you what happened. But yes, as soon as it became clear that it's like, yeah, my mom pretty much disowned me. Yeah. That yes, the comforting should switch to him and not to the lady who I just didn't understand what you all were saying. Right.
Yeah, because that's Jenny didn't know he was disowned. Well, how would she know? Right.
I mean, she gets the gist that it was bad, but I don't think she got the gist of you can't come to my funeral when I die.
Yeah, it's like you're dead. You can't control anything. Yeah. I would be like, just to spite you, I'm coming to your funeral.
She's a lot, man. Like, she is
a lot. Well, very dramatic, too.
Yeah, she's such a guilt tripper.
Yeah, you can't come to my... I feel like that's a very, like, Asian, culturally stereotypical Asian thing.
The guilt tripper? I don't necessarily associate it with that. Actually. I do. I mean, guilt, yes.
It's emotional manipulation. That's how you get your kids to do things.
Yeah, but the Tiger Mom stuff, right? Like,
yes.
I don't associate it with, oh, you must not love or care about your mom as much as it's like, oh, you're clearly a failure. Like, and you should do better.
Yeah, you're bringing shame to the family name.
Oh, I don't know about the family. I don't know about that. It was like, well, I'm not impressed.
Oh, goodness, those two. All right, so moving on to Bilal and Shaeeda. So Bilal and Shaeeda are getting ready to meet with Bilal's ex-wife, Shaheeda. I'll try not to mix up their names. So Bilal is worried that Shaeeda and Shaheeda will not resolve whatever conflict they think is happening, which he fears will create a toxic relationship with his kids. Bilal doesn't really want to hear Shaeeda's issues with Shaheeda because he just wants peace. Shaeeda is insulted that Shaheeda accused her of just being there for what Bilal has. Shaeeda thought she was hostile and aggressive, and she felt bullied as the foreigner. Shaeeda said that after that day, she vowed she would never let anyone bully her like that again. Shaheeda shows up and Shaeeda is quiet. Shaheeda has been told that she had overstepped her bounds, and when asked if she was going to apologize by production, she was like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Apologize for what?
Yeah. Shaeeda tells her, that she felt disrespected because of how she said and what she said, saying she was being aggressive. Shaheeda immediately gets defensive, and Shaeeda points out, yep, aggressive like that. Bilal attempts to mediate, but he already knows that this isn't a conversation anymore, that it's just a full-blown argument. Shaeeda says that she doesn't want bad blood, but she wants acknowledgement from Shaheeda's part that her perspective is valid. Shaheeda is having none of it and tells Bilal to get his girl because things are going to turn left real quick. Shaheeda keeps saying she doesn't know her. You don't know me. And Shaeeda keeps calling her a bully. Bilal keeps trying to keep the peace, but Shaheeda is already walking away as Shaeeda calls after her, asking if that's the kind of example she wants to set for her children. After she leaves, Bilal slowly gets up and tells Shaeeda, time to go. And Shaeeda thinks if Shaheeda came open-minded, ready to apologize, Shaeeda would have easily forgiven and forgotten. Shaeeda thinks that she was being diplomatic and calm, and she doesn't need that kind of energy in her life. Bilal is quiet in the car as Shaeeda comments about how nice the city looks. Bilal is really angry and embarrassed, and he doesn't want to say anything he will regret, which is why he's being quiet. All right, so Bilal said he was being angry, or he's really angry, which I was kind of surprised about, but it kind of doesn't surprise me too much, the reaction we saw when he was angry. He definitely, is one of those people that kind of like just shuts down,
Oh, yeah, definitely. We saw that at the tell-all.
Right. So when he's angry, he just shuts down. It's like he just doesn't have a reaction. He's like almost trying to disassociate from the situation. Yeah. But I was kind of surprised that he was angry as he describes it. Who do you think he was angry at? Do you think he was angry at Shaeeda or Shaheeda? Because he didn't really say which.
He didn't really say, and I think we got a little bit in the preview about who he was actually mad at, but I would have been mad at Shaheeda. Mm-hmm. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
Seriously? Literally the entire thing that you did, what do I have to apologize for? Well, you offended her.
Right.
Like, you don't get to decide what you said wasn't offensive. Right. Sorry. That was her decision, and you offended her. Maybe you don't think she should have been offended? Okay, she was. Apologize. Like, that's who needs to make peace. Yeah. Right? Not the person who's like, not the person you just go, you better get over it. And say, East Diego's up in here, like, before you almost storm off because she said, please don't insult me on my home. Like, come on. Like, that's absurd. Yeah. Her behavior was in no way acceptable at all. And and I don't think he's upset at Shaheeda. I think he's upset at the other one.
At Shaeeda?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, I definitely think that because I feel like he would have said something to her about being upset with Shaheeda, or maybe he would probably have been more open about it, like, because he definitely was. When
he was left with Shaeeda, you'd think he'd be like, wow, that was really bad. I'm sorry. Like, that was terrible. Right. I'm really mad about how she treated you. Right?
Yeah.
Instead of just still, I don't want to talk about it.
Right. I do think that Shaeeda is a little naive, thinking she was going to get an apology from Shaheeda. And quite honestly, not that she isn't owed an apology. I mean, I really have no opinion either way on that. I just, to expect that there has to be one to move forward, I just don't think that that's the kind of mindset you want to have. Because, it's like you can't control other people apologizing to you. Now, I agree with you, like, Shaheeda probably should have said something like, I didn't intend it that way, so I'm sorry that it came off that way, but that wasn't my intention. Because, I feel like just even something as simple as that, you can deny that you were being aggressive, but then also acknowledging that other people may have had a different perspective. And I think like just even coming up with that, I think would have been enough for Shaeeda to just be like, okay, like you're a person who's trying to work with me, instead of someone who's gonna be defensive from the very beginning. I don't owe you anything. You better get your girl. It's turning left. Like, you know, that kind of reaction altogether is just like, I agree with Shaeeda. It's aggressive. There's no need for that.
It's super aggressive. Yeah, there's no need for it at all. I mean, it's just, I don't understand that attitude. I'm not apologizing to them. I apologize to people constantly, all day long. Half the words out of my mouth are, I'm sorry. Like, and sometimes, you know, as a teacher, I was like, yeah, sometimes I'm totally right. And they were totally wrong. But I'm going to say I'm sorry because I need them to study and I need them to do their work and I need them to not be pissed off at me. Right?
Yeah, and so, we need to move forward.
And we're going to move on. If that's what it takes to move on, then that's what I'm going to do, right? Yeah. And I don't understand the attitude of people who put their feet down and are like, no, no, no. Although, I feel like Shaheeda has a trigger. And I feel like her trigger is when Shaeeda refers to it as my home. As soon as Shaeeda says, oh, you came into my home, she was like, whose home? Whose home is this? Because it's Bilal's home. It's my kid's home. It is not your home. And like, she doesn't say it like that. But as soon as Shaeeda says my home, and it happened the first time, as soon as Shaeeda says my home, she starts feeling some kind of way.
Yeah. I wonder if that was her family home, like before her and Bilal got divorced.
Yeah. Or if I don't know if she might have lived in that home with Bilal, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. But that was their family, I think not like she grew up there, but like they bought that house together and he kept the house. I don't know. But like, yeah, I mean, I would definitely not feel great if, you know, my ex still lives in the house we bought together. If some dude, like, literally, I didn't even know they were dating and he moved in and was like, well, welcome to my home. I'd be like, I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be like, we sure about that, buddy? Like,
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, that seems to be what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Last up, Yara and Jovi. All right, so Mila, Jovi, and Yara are having a family date out to a vineyard. And Jovi seems a lot more excited about it than Yara, who I think might still be hungover from last night, especially since he's the only one in sunglasses. So also, Yara is not super excited for drunk Jovi. So they have a playful back and forth that ends like they start in the car and then they do it in interviews. It ends with Yara insulting the cash value of Jovi's penis. And then we're back in the car. It actually was pretty funny because
she is a very funny person. Yeah.
Because it started with like Gwen made jokes about selling organs, and she was like, he was like, well, you offered to cut my penis.
I cut it off and throw it away.
Yeah, she's like, he's like, you threatened to cut off my penis. She's like, that's not worth any money. I wouldn't do that. So funny. So anyway, they both say they'd rather be doing this winery thing without Mila, which leads kind of to the obvious question of why isn't Jovi's mom Gwen watching the baby? Well, it turns out that Jovi and his mom had a falling out over, it seems more or less about how much support Yara was getting from her while Jovi was away. And even Yara hasn't spoken to her in like something like 6 months. So they're both just it seems like they both just kind of assumed that she would kind of do the thing we assumed she would do, always just be there and be like, what's up? Hey, you need something? Yeah. I'm right here, by the way. But she like actually has a life and was waiting to be invited and couldn't do it all the time. So we don't really hear Gwen's side of the story, so I don't know what's actually going on. So we only have half of it. So Yara thinks that it's past time that they took Mila back to her home, of course, to see her mom. And Jovi agrees, but, you know, maybe it would be better after Yara got her green card, which is taking forever because the whole visa process is super slow right now. So she has work permit, but not a green card. So, of course, at the point they filmed this, things were looking bad in Ukraine, but there wasn't a war yet. So, you know, you can kind of get a gauge of when they were filming it. So eventually they do get to the promised vineyard, which is, you know, less picturesque than promised since it's not growing season and all the vines are just like dead. So there's still wine to taste though, which is, you know, my least favorite type of tasting because it's only like them and the people who run the vineyard and they like are just watching them taste the wine, which is so awkward all the time. So they go to walk around the place and Jovi doesn't want to leave with he just wants more than just a glass of wine. So he grabs the bottle. So he thinks that Yara should be excited now because she's not breastfeeding so she can drink again, which brings us nicely to the subject from last week about her boobs looking different after breastfeeding. So in typical Jovi style, he expresses something approaching the right sentiment with the worst possible wording possible and tone. He insists that he finds her as attractive as always, but if she wants to look better, to have more confidence in herself. But anyway, he really wants her to way that she looked before. Sorry, said that wrong. When it came up the boob job, he said something like, well, yeah, sure, I'd like it if you look like a stripper. And she was like, stop. I'm not going to look like a stripper. I just want my boobs to look like they looked before. Not big stripper Pamela Anderson boobs. So anyway, during the conversation, she repeatedly brings up how her friends look pretty. So then Jovi is like, well, do you just want a boob job because your friends got a boob job? Are these new friends having a bad influence on you, is what he wants to know, as he also tells her that she's going to need to drive home because he's had too much to drink.
Oh, gosh.
So, I don't know. Is this... How could... I'll just put it that way. How could Jovi have handled this conversation a little more tactfully?
I mean... I think I feel like you've heard the standard, like, partner responses, right? Like,
sure.
Whatever you decide to do, I will love whatever your body is or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I think if pressed, partners should probably give their honest opinion on, like, maybe preferences. But I don't think anything that isn't them, like... I support you, trying to recreate your body from before. Sure.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. He also didn't give, like, I don't want to say the stock response, but there's usually a good response in there when you're like, oh, your boobs look different, but that doesn't bother me. They fed my child. Right? Like, why would I be upset that, of course, like, whatever, they did a wonderful thing, like, for our family. Like, I don't care how they look. Right? That's that. But he didn't get, he's like, I don't know. I guess they do look different. Whatever. But but you're right. At the end of the day, you need to be obvious. You need to be honest about what your preferences are. But also, I just feel like a little more tact.
I think you have to be open too.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So, like, if your preferences are not your partner's preferences and it's your partner's decision because it's their body, you have to be open to the fact that, this is your partner. You've chosen to be with them. So if they prefer their body like that, you just got to go with it. Right. Yeah, that's true. Except for drunk. Because she doesn't like his body drunk, and he just wants his body to be drunk all the time. Oh, gosh. I feel like that's more of a state than a physical look there. Than a physical thing. Yeah. I don't know. I also just kind of, the whole, I think your friends are a bad influence on you is not a good look for someone who's older than 8, 10, like... I mean, I don't think he's wrong, but I don't know if him always bringing it up like that is going to make a difference. It's just probably going to be like, no, this is how I think. And then it's like, well, is it? I mean, I think it's yes and no. I always have issues with parents that are like, oh, they just fell in with the wrong crowd. And like, I'm going to stop you there. Your kid is the wrong crowd. Everybody in that crowd says the same thing. They fell in with the wrong crowd. Every single parent thinks, and is like, I'll point you to another parent that thinks your kid is the one having bad influences because they chose those people and they are friends with them because that's what they want to do and that's what they want to be. Mm-hmm. Right? If she wasn't a similar person to those friends and had similar feelings about something, she wouldn't be their friend. Right. Yeah, that's very true. All right. So I think that was everyone except for Michael and Angela. Yeah. So who was your student of the week? I guess again, always tough. I'm going to go with Sumit because he was really upset and managed to rein it in just enough to because they were really getting to the point where things get really dicey, and he stormed out and then did take a breath and calmed down and kind of got them into a place where they were actually talking to each other. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you as well. Just his situation is really difficult. I feel very bad that he has to deal with his mom being dramatic and then Jenny being dramatic. Yeah. That's true. Very, very dramatic. That's tough. What about yours? Yes, so I agreed about Sumit. Oh, you said Sumit. Oh, okay. Yeah. Same thing.
right.
So what about your dunce?
My dunce, I'm gonna go with Kim. She's not being straightforward with literally anybody in this situation, least of all herself.
Right.
Least of all herself. When she brings the son in and she gives him half of the plan, and then when he's confused by it because he only heard half the plan, he's like, this doesn't add up because he only knows half the plan. She yells at him and it's defensive and you're not supporting me and blah, blah, blah. Like, and the fact that she thinks this sister wife thing is going to work out. It's just, it's deceit all the way around.
Right. Yeah. I went with Kim too, because I kind of felt like, she's lying to everyone. And I don't think intentionally. I think it's just because she's not honest and she's lying to herself. So, kind of the lies she tells other people are the ones she's been telling herself to get through this relationship.
Sure.
But yeah, it seems so obvious to everyone except for her. And that actually brings me to my life lesson, because it really bothered me that she kept on saying, like, I deserve to be happy. I want to be happy. This makes me happy. You shouldn't question it. So my life lesson is your happiness now doesn't always lead to happiness later. And I think that's what everybody is so concerned with. And that's where this place of concern is. That
literally also describes heroin. This makes me happy right now. Why are you judging me for it? I deserve to be happy.
Right. Yeah, there's lots of things you could say that about. And it's like, well, that doesn't lead to happiness later. Just because you're happy doesn't mean it's good for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All
right. So mine is like, just be chill about people like telling you their dreams. Like, be chill. Don't if someone tells you want to sing, like, oh, can you sing for me right now? Oh, you can't?
Oh, gosh,
then you aren't a professional singer then, are you? Because professional singers can just turn it on whenever they want. Like, and then, oh, you're going to sing nursery rhymes? Are you sure that's a thing? Just listen to the lady and play along with her thing. Just be nice.
I know, especially Marisol. It's like, that's not even your family.
Yes.
Like, I get your family giving you a hard time and asking the hard questions, but Marisol, come on now, just because you're in the profession. Isn't up to you to haze everyone who's trying to break into the profession.
Yeah, sing for me now, plebe. What is this? Stop this. All right, so that's everything. So we will be back on time next week?
Yes. I don't think we have anything planned where we wouldn't be on time. So we apologize, Labor Day weekend, out of town, back to school night, other things happening at the beginning of the week for us. So, we should be back next week.
See everybody on Monday then.
All right. Until then.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.